Oh, Subnautica. Is it a game of survival? A building simulator? Or the very thing of my nightmares? Well, it's kind of all the above. Hey everyone, it's me KNT, and let me elaborate. See, when I first heard about this title, I honestly didn't think much of it. I once thought it was another Minecraft clone, just set underwater. But I was wrong. Oh, I was so wrong. After waiting for one of Steam's seasonal sales, I decided to give it a shot and find out what all the hype was about. And my only regret was not buying it sooner. But before I get ahead of myself, what exactly is Subnautica? Simply put, it's a survival adventure game where you take on the role of Riley Robinson, a quote-unquote non-essential systems maintenance chief, aboard the spaceship the Aurora. Set in the future where humanity now utilizes phase gates to travel the universe, the story begins after a ship named the Degassi is shot down over planet 4546b. 10 years later, the Aurora is dispatched by the major corporation, Altera, to construct a new phase gate in the Ariadne arm. However, its secret mission is to locate the missing crew of the sunken Degassi. Closing in on the location of the crashed ship, the Aurora is suddenly shot down and plummets onto the same planet. Riley is the sole survivor of the Aurora crash, and it's up to you to survive until you can find a way off this extraterrestrial rock. And as you will shortly find, the planet is essentially all water, which is deeply terrifying. Sounds easy enough, right? Well, not entirely. I mean, the gameplay loop is simple to grasp. Explore, collect resources, build new tech, and repeat as you navigate through the story. However, it's the crippling fear of traversing these alien waters that makes the game a struggle. At every inch of exploration, you'll constantly find yourself checking behind you, or thinking of the worst things imaginable, stalking your very being in the unknown deep. Fortunately, things will get better, I promise. You'll go from
Fraggle, Fraggle! Ah! Somebody help me!
to
Uncle Nurgle, when you gonna leave?
and before you know it, you'll become a veteran diver in no time. And if it's not the gameplay that locks you in, it'll definitely be the story. What can I say? It was surprisingly strong for an indie survival game. The mystery of the planet keeps you intrigued, and who doesn't love a good survivor story? An underdog thrown into the water and forced to learn how to swim. And it's because of this story that got me thinking, you know, this would be a great film. So, follow along as I imagine what this game will look like adapted to the big screen. Alright, I take a left here, and yeah, this should be it. Wait, is that Mario? I think I'm at the wrong Universal.
Damn it, we're so late!
Alright, we made it. It's probably that building right over there. Hello, Universal executives. Peter, looking sharp. Donna, loving the earrings. Jeff, have you been working out? Anyway, I'm here to pitch you a video game adaptation that you're gonna love. Think Jaws meets Castaway or The Martian. It's an indie game that I believe will make huge waves on the big screen. Because it takes place in water. Let's just get to the logline. To begin, this film follows a single character, and I kept thinking, who would be a good fit? Looking at current popular actors and considering the range, I needed someone with a good sense of comedy and drama. Someone people are familiar with while also not impossible to get. After considering various options, I landed on Manny Jacinto. You may know him most recently on the series Star Wars The Acolyte, but he's also starred in Top Gun Maverick, Mortal Kombat Snowblind, and of course, The Good Place, where he had his breakout role as Jason Mendoza. So now that you have that image in mind, let's dive into Act 1. We begin with the crash of the Aurora onto planet 4546b. Riley, played by Manny, wakes up in an escape pod, and we're introduced to the helper AI on his PDA, a vital tool to survive on this alien planet.
This PDA has now rebooted in emergency mode with one directive: to keep you alive on an alien world. Please refer to the databank for detailed survival advice. Good luck.
Lifting open the hatch, he then finds himself surrounded by an endless ocean. Leaving the safety of the pod in search for other survivors, Riley finds a trail of debris and follows it to the site of another crashed pod. The vessel appears to have been ripped open, and after searching inside, he finds an intact PDA and a small vehicle known as a Sea Glide. Back at his life pod, Riley plays a voice log on the retrieved tablet. We hear a character radioing for rescue until something attacks their vessel. The voice log abruptly ends with the roar of a creature cutting to static.
To any Altera crew. Landed in area of significant alien activity. Encountered predators in the Leviathan class, highly aggressive. Spectroscope scanner assigned species designator Reaper. One specimen attempted to swallow the life pod, doing extensive damage in the process. Only viable option is to make for the safety of the Aurora crash site. I've retrieved a data box with the creature decoy and enough resources to fabricate a couple of them. The swim's longer than the decoy lifetime, but it should just be enough to keep them busy. If you don't find me on board the ship, presume I miscalculated.
Not wanting to suffer the same fate, Riley ventures back out to gather resources to fix the broken radio in the pod. After exploring more of the surrounding environment and sea life, Riley is able to gather precious minerals with the help of his AI and transfers them to Altera's state-of-the-art fabricator, creating a repair tool. Having now repaired the radio, Riley receives a transmission, dated days ago, from the Sunbeam crew detailing that they've received a distress signal from the Aurora and will attempt a rescue mission at the given coordinates by tomorrow.
Aurora, we're approaching the planet now. We have a landing site for you that's... well, it's better than the alternatives. We've sent you the coordinates. It'll take us a couple of days to align our orbit. We should be able to establish direct contact with you during that time. Then we're coming in to get you. Cross your fingers, the weather holds. Don't leave us waiting. Sunbeam out.
After using one of his few internal power cells to charge the Sea Glide, Riley inputs the coordinates into the PDA and ventures out. Fortunately, it's not too far. He travels through kelp forests and grassy plateaus and arrives at an island with an unusual alien structure. Seeing as there's abundant time before the sunbeam arrives, Riley decides to enter. Inside, he encounters a device that takes a blood sample from him and states something in an alien language. His AI is loosely able to translate the word contaminated. Riley then realizes the sunbeam is about to descend. Leaving the facility, Riley breathes with relief as he can see the ship in sight. But that is short-lived. The alien facility becomes aware of the sunbeam and shoots it to smithereens. And with it, his only escape. Devastated, he makes his way back to the little pod he calls home until he's pursued by a creature of enormous size, the Reaper Leviathan. It relentlessly hunts after him, but Riley is able to lose it in the kelp forest. As night creeps in, Riley manages to safely return home, and after a day like that, Riley curls up alone and drifts off to sleep. By morning, Riley wakes up to find green sores have now grown on his hands. Though he didn't realize it, his PDA spent the night decrypting the alien language from the facility. It informs him that the planet's ocean is infected with something known as the Kara bacterium, and given how long Riley has been exposed to the waters, it estimates he has around 2 weeks left. He debates his options, and jokingly tosses around the idea of ending it all right then and there. I mean, what's the point of trying to escape if there's an alien cannon ready to blast all incoming and outgoing life forms as a way to contain this bacteria? But as fortune would have it, the radio rings and in comes a message from someone claiming to be a survivor. They desperately call for help and provide their coordinates. Without hesitation, Riley leaves the pod and hurries to their aid. By the time Riley arrives at the coordinates, he's relieved that the pod's all intact, but something's off. The pod is not from the Aurora and shows age with overgrown algae caking the outside. As he enters, he's heartbroken to find the transmission he received was delayed from what seems like years ago, as the survivor lies deceased on the floor. In her hands is a PDA. Riley turns it on, showing not an Altera logo, but rather another corporation by the name of Torgal. He finds numerous voice logs and plays one to find it to be the diary of the survivor. Let's call her Robin. She talks about how the chances of her escape are slim to none, but she's not willing to give up. Robin details that she's become aware of a bacterium affecting the plant's ocean and is set on finding a cure. Riley takes the PDA back to his pod and listens to it like it's the only companion he has. In the next following days, he listens to Robin's voice logs constantly. He follows her teachings and insights about the environment and the world they now live in. He eventually is able to dismantle the old dingy life pod and uses its parts, along with gathered wreckage scraps, to craft a makeshift home. Heck, he even upgraded his vehicle. In addition to this, his AI has proven most useful analyzing the bacterium to the point of nearly finalizing a cure. However, there is one missing element, an enzyme faintly found throughout the water which has prevented the bacteria from completely taking over. If a stronger and more stable form of this enzyme were to be found, that could be the final piece of the puzzle. Recalling Robin's previous voice logs, there's no mention of this particular enzyme, but she mentioned that there is another alien facility that lies south hundreds of meters down. Through her research, she theorized this place to be some kind of research facility. Though not much of an exact answer, Riley's only hope is for that enzyme to be contained within. That night, Riley hesitates to listen to Robin's last voice log and decides to save it. He's not ready to lose the only friend he has left. The next day, he hops in his new Seamoth and follows the directions Robin laid out. His journey brings him to an edge of the abyss, and before he knows it, terror would strike again. The Reaper Leviathan has followed him and now latches to his vehicle. Riley pushes on the gas and brings the two of them over the edge and into the abyss. As they fall like Gandalf and the Balrog, Riley manages to push the Reaper Leviathan against the trench's walls, releasing him from its grip. As the Reaper charges once again at Riley, it's intercepted by another Leviathan whose territory the Reaper has invaded. Riley uses his chance and descends deeper. He eventually makes it to the facility and enters. There's not a soul in sight in the empty halls until he reaches a testing room. Inside, he finds a massive Leviathan trapped within its walls. Though this one feels different. It is aware of Riley's presence and acts more curious than hostile. Riley moves slowly and takes out his scanner tool. He shows the Leviathan he means no harm and scans it. As the results load, Riley's taken aback to learn this creature naturally produces the element known as Enzyme 42. Now having found the last missing ingredient, Riley needs to figure out a way to obtain a sample. As he takes a closer look at the enclosed Sea Emperor, if you will, complications further arise as the creature is not alone. On a nearby table, Riley sees a variety of tools, one being a sort of syringe. Hoping it can understand this situation, Riley removes his glove and shows the Sea Emperor his infected hand. The creature surprisingly acknowledges the action and holds out its own hand in return. Riley's able to take a sample, but he knows he can't leave the creature locked up. He returns to the controls and eventually is able to find the release button. As the contraption begins to open, it gets stuck. Riley then takes the Seamoth and attempts to free the lodged door. Before he knows it, the Reaper Leviathan has made its way down and, just like clockwork, attacks Riley's vehicle. And in the attack, the syringe containing the extracted enzyme is shattered. Everything he worked toward and the last thing he needed, gone, in an instant. He nearly feels that this is the end for him, that maybe it was his fate to go out this way. But he can't. For what uneventful life he lived before, Riley needs to finish one last thing. He's able to electrocute the Reaper and release the stuck door. The Sea Emperor and its offspring escape, though the Reaper has found its new targets. Riley puts the Seamoth into overdrive and drives straight at the Reaper, pinning it to the ground. As the Seamoth hits critical temperatures and approaches combustion, Riley ejects and is shot up toward the surface. He eventually wakes up on the shore of the alien cannon facility. To his surprise, his infection is gone, and the water feels different. In the distance, he watches the Sea Emperor and his offspring swim off into the horizon. He then takes a seat and plays Robin's last voice log. And there you have it, Subnautica, the movie. Seeing as not everything can or should be adapted to the big screen beat for beat, I took a couple liberties changing things I thought would suit the film better. But you know how it goes, adaptations change from the source material, and hopefully for the better in this case. Judging on scope, time, and general audience appeal, I think this is a good start. But I'm curious what you think. Is there something I should have kept from the original game that didn't make it through? Or if you've never played Subnautica, does this intrigue you enough to give it a try? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, why don't you hit that thumbs up? And if you're curious for more, well, I have a lot more ideas like this one, so stay tuned and thanks for watching.